What's up, guys? It's been a bit. I haven't had time to let me take a hit of this potion. I haven't had time to like make videos like I used to, and I'm still flipping collecting, so instead of doing an update of every little thing, I decided to just wait until I had time to do like a collection update kind of thing. So here we are. Now I guess let's get right into it. I was gonna open up my vault case, and I guess I will start with my never flips, stuff I don't really flip. And this is my Bradley Kimura. This is the Baron's Sons version, one that came out like 3 years ago or something. A little bit of mud in there. It's like my second time making this video. I kept getting interrupted. See if I can get it out there. There we go. Whatever, it's fine. I'll clean it later. My hands are not preoccupied. Yeah. I think it's very handle heavy because it's of the stainless steel handles. The blade's pretty nice. It's 154 cm, but it got rusted because I was using it as my fruit knife for a little bit, and it's a little short, so it's like not optimal flipping, but it is still fun to flip every once in a while. These handles are super thin, and it's on washers, which is fine. It originally had a carbon fiber scales, but I took those off, and weirdly enough, it made the balance of this thing better. It was even more handle biased at the time. But yeah, I love, this is probably my favorite blade shape I've seen on a balisong. This like weird spear point leaf shape. Looks very organic and non-threatening. I've thought about carrying this as a work knife every once in a while, but it's just a little heavy. And also, like, I'd rather just have a fuck you. I'd rather just have a folder as a work knife. So. And then we got my clone Bowie Kraken. I believe this is from the one. Pretty decent for a clone. This is the first clone that I got that I'm like, I kind of want to keep this. And then when I got a real Kraken, I still wanted to keep this because it was just different enough from a real Kraken. And it's still fun. Like, it's still a great knife. But I just don't flip it that much anymore because I had a real Kraken. And flipping this is just like, I was like, oh, if I feel like I just want to flip something like a Kraken but not the Kraken, you know, that's the best way I can describe the only reason I'm keeping this. I think it's pretty too, though. Oof. Sorry if my flipping is not the best right now. It's been a while since I made these first person videos. When I was doing this like every other day or every week, I was getting really used to holding a camera and flipping with the other hand. But I've been pretty busy, and then I was trying to focus more on third person flipping videos. Because when I'm flipping third person, I get both my hands in on it, and I could really focus on actual flipping. I miss doing these kind of videos, you know? Little... kind of good to talk to yourself every once in a while. It makes me feel less crazy that there's some people watching it, you know? Yeah. This thing came so goddamn sharp, man. And the aluminum is definitely dense way, like damages way easier than a regular Kraken, like a real Kraken, but it's still a real knife. Like, it's not a real Kraken. Well, I hate when people say, oh, I want to get a real knife. It's like, a clone is still a real knife, it's just not a real name brand knife. You still use this to cut things. This steel's like actually holding up a lot better than I thought it would. Yeah. Alright, that's enough of this guy. Whew. And then more of my almost never flips is my Serpent Striker 2 from Maxace. The super best Chinese knife company ever. I actually really like this company a lot. Like, you know that one in Skyrim when you're carrying around like an elf sword and they're like, what, is Nord steel not good enough for you? That's how I feel whenever there's like some Maxace haters, you know? It's like just because it's Chinese, they think it's like some flea market shit or like some clone, but this thing flips great. For 120 bucks, this thing flips phenomenal for 120 bucks. It is a little heavy, I'll say that. And I kind of don't like the red G10 spacers, but the stainless steel liners, like, it's a little heavy, but it still flips. It's still balanced great. And this, I'm like, it's Christmas at my parents' house, and it's the only time I can ever have time to film something like this, you know? So I'm spending a little bit of my Christmas with y'all. Unless you're watching this like some other day, then, you know, whatever, but blah 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 blah. Alright, well, yeah, this is pretty, it's like a solid knife. It's just now that I'm trying to not just buy every knife I see, even though I'm still buying a lot of knives, I'm like trying to focus my collection to be more cohesive. This green kind of stands out a little bit too much, and I really just dislike this harpoon blade. I still think it's a really dumb trend with balisongs lately. Like, I just don't dig harpoon shapes. They were cool when they weren't everywhere, and now it's like every balisong has a harpoon shape at this point. It's just like, I personally just don't like it. It looks better in pictures, but then when you're actually looking at it and carrying it and stuff, it just feels kind of awkward. Okay, let's see here. And we got my Replicant, my clone rep. It's on its way being legit. I just kind of stopped for a bit because Replicant reblades cost a bit of money, and I just like the shape of the rep blade right now. These handles are blue JT slot scales. These are the same pattern as my first BRS Replicant, which was select blue, and then it has Foxfire channel spacers and Foxfire foxhole liners. And I love the sound of this knife. It's like a whisper of clacky, and I love how it looks. The way it flips though is a little weird. These handles are very light, yet the balance just feels a little off. It still feels like the tiniest bit handle bias, but it just feels like a little floppy. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. Like, fans feel like they're going wrong all the time. I've been trying to like not fan as much, as I realize I've been relying on fanning as filler for a lot of my combos, but I still like a knife to feel good when it fans. This one just feels kind of weird. It feels like it's gonna fan a lot, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, I'm deciding to be handle bias all of a sudden. So, still a very pretty knife. This is Bally Plus blade. Set that aside. Alright, I'm gonna get to my good shit. The good shit. This is my basilisk. This is a Franken-basilisk technically. And this is from a carbon fiber basilisk. The blade is a satin blade that came from carbon fiber basilisk, which I sold that and the I think it's DLC coated Ghost Bass blade. So I kept the coated liners and the Jade G10 from the Ghost Basilisk, and now it's running on G10 spacers from Hom. And this thing is the quietest knife I have. If my girl is sleeping, I will flip this and this does not wake her. It's the only knife that won't wake her up. This balance is like kind of neutral with the G10 spacers, because I removed the metal weight in them. It feels a little weird, but I'm so used to it now that it's almost perfect for me. The thing with Hom knives is that there is, since his tips are super duper pointy, oh, except for this one because I beat it, super duper pointy, there's not as much blade weight, or like all the blade weight is like up here instead of like near the end. So like if you look at the like the rep, there's like a little bit of thickness to that tip of the blade, so a lot of the weight is near the end like that. This one, more of the blade weight's like over here, so I don't know how to explain it. So even though it feels neutral, it doesn't fan that neutrally. Still one of my favorite knives of all time. Okay, guess we're gonna keep going down the Hom train. This is my Chimera. Has a latch, and then the latch goes inside the handle. I've shown that like 1,000 times, but I still love that. Still a Bowie blade shape, well, clip point technically. Little tiny bit of recurve. This had aluminum spacers I installed, and I reinstalled the titanium ones because I wanted something a little blade heavy, and I kind of missed the UFO feel of this knife. So I reinstalled it. Like, I was getting to a point where I was modifying all my knives to like flip the same, and I was like, what's the point of having all these different knives and they all flip the same way? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I've gushed enough about this one. Of the Inside G10. I might modify it. Like, I might probably gonna dye the G10's liners black, and then see if I could anno the titanium scales. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with it, but I have a theme I'm gonna try to run with my collection now that I'm kind of forcing myself to chill out on it. Yep, Chimera. Got my baby Alpha Beast 3.0. This is my ride or die bitch. I can depend on this knife for anything. I will say it's not my highest performance flipper, but I feel like I haven't, once I perfect a trick on this, I have perfected the trick in general. Because this is the knife that will punish me the most if I fuck up. It's my most jealous knife. Every time I get a new knife, flip that and get used to it, and I pick this one up, this like almost reprimands me for doing that. But this is the knife that I learned the most on. Yep, whatever. Okay. It is running on one pair of brass Kuski spacers, or barrels. I used to have stock spacers, then two spacers, and then two sets of barrels. Now one set of barrels. And I won these 3D printed spacers for the Alpha Beast that were like a channel spacer thing. It looked really cool on it, but unlike the Replicant, which has the Zen pins to keep the channel spacers from going inside and hitting the blade, these 3D, there's nothing in the Alpha Beast that's preventing any sort of channel spacer to get hit by the blade. So that's the only reason I didn't put it on. I didn't want my AB blade, which is already getting kind of beat up. I've sharpened it so many times, I've dropped this thing so many times, to just hit some plastic spacers in there. So I mean, if I had a dress-up AB that I don't flip, I'd probably put those nice-looking G10 spacers in there. But alas, I don't. So okay. Well, oh, I forgot I got some in my pocket, so I'll show you that. Nope. Well, after this other Maxace knife, I had 2 videos on this, but this one is Maxace She. This is my pretty dress-up knife. Love the little saw back and the holes, and the carbon fiber, like fossil-looking carbon fiber stuff. It has 24 screws. Yeah, 24 screws. But this thing is amazing. I love this thing. I have 4 titanium spacers in there that I could modulate. And I actually installed skiff bearings on these, and it has made this thing the most solid feeling bearing knife I've ever had. Like, that is actually a worthwhile investment. If you have any bearing balisongs, just get skiff bearings. They will make it feel rock solid. Like, this is usually, the pivot area is usually the weak point, and a lot of bearing balisongs have like plastic housing or something stupid like that. But these skiff bearings are like solid brass or something. I'm not sure. But it made this thing feel, and it makes it feel solid. It sounds solid, and then also it like glides. Like, when people say they don't like bearing balisongs, they usually haven't flipped something that has like really solid bearings. You get like no play on this thing. I actually think I found a good balance with this knife, because this is a knife that I love to flip, and I will flip, but I don't flip it enough to damage it all the time. I'm like really happy with this one. It looks mean as fuck too. Y'all. And it's like kind of rare, little rare. I don't know a lot of other flippers that keep this in their collection. It always like comes and goes or gets modded a whole lot. But I love taking this thing apart and flipping it, and the this with all the titanium spacers in there, it is actually less blade biased than the Covenant I had, which is crazy. There's some brass, it came with some brass spacers, but I don't think I'm gonna install that anytime soon. Okay, I get it. Memory's dying here. Gotta speed this up. And I got some in my pockets. Let me show the ones in my pockets. This is a Squid Industries V Squid Trainer V 3.5 or 3. I forgot which one. It's in teal. I had a purple one back in the day. I think it was a V2. And I liked it, but I didn't like how floppy it got because it doesn't have bushings or bearings. It's all on washers. Well, since then, so like I sold it, even though I flipped it and beat it a lot, I still sold it because I was like, oh, this is feeling weird. You know, I didn't really know how to take care of my knives back then. And also I was like, I didn't like the floppy feeling of it. But the more I flip, the more I begin to like play. You know, obviously if a knife has play when you buy it brand new for a couple $100, that's like some bullshit. But I've dropped this thing 1,000 times. Oof. I've been cut. So the fact that it has play on washers is like pretty a-okay. Like, this is one of those knives that it's one of these trainers that it's you actually might like it more if you are doing advanced stuff than starting out. Yeah. Alright. Then what do I have in my pocket? Boom, Kraken. I sold that red Kraken because I wasn't vibing off of it. It flipped amazing, but I was like, I'm not crazy about all the, you know, aluminum channel ballys. Then I saw this one for sale on Shop Silhouette, and I'm like, this is gorgeous. A gorgeous, gorgeous Kraken. Like, I mean, Krakens are dominating everything because they're great knives. They just, they feel kind of run of the mill because they perform so great, you know? It's almost like it's a must-have, but it's not like that much more character than that. So if you ever feel like, oh, I don't like this Kraken, I want to sell it, if you're gonna buy a Kraken, buy one that looks something that you want to look at. I like that red one I had. It's just the red with a satin blade, satin Tonto just didn't feel right. This one feels great. This one looks and feels great. I'm gonna probably beat this one. I'm already kind of beating it, but I feel like I could do any trick I want on this thing. You know, it's insane. And this one's actually sharper than my other Kraken that I had, so that's cool. Still got the tip. Yeah, buddy, still got a tip. And then, last knife in my collection is a Polythiest Revolution. I have very, very conflicting feelings about this knife. This is, let's see if I can find it. This is the 2017 edition. Polythiest well, not hand makes. He has a machine. He has a machine. He machines these by himself. These are not production. I wouldn't say they're custom, but I'm kind of iffy on it. This was one of those when I was first getting into flipping, these were like one of those highly sought after grails. Like, this would be considered like a bally boomer grail. it's really short compared to knives now. Look how short it is compared to the Kraken. And it's D2 steel, but like, look at that grind. It's beautiful. Lum Tonto. It's like a Japanese style Tonto. And this just feels classy. And that's also why I feel conflicted about this, because I know Assassin Flone beats his pink Revolution. And that's like, you know, a fucking Chad ass thing to do. This thing's so expensive. I got it for $700 and it's tipped. I was a little upset about that because the guy said it was perfect. And I asked him, like, I'll send a video, and all he did was send a video, but he just made noise. He just flipped it, and the noise itself got me like, oh man, I want it now. So like, when you get knife lust, like, make sure you ask for pics of the tip. And if you have a feeling that the video is, if you're not exactly happy with the video, every time I sell a knife, I always go like, hi, this is a video for username or the person's name. And they say it out loud so they know that this is a video that I filmed just for them. And they ask for it. Like, I'm really happy to have like something like this in my collection. But I just don't know how long it's going to stay. Yeah, I got less than a minute on my memory, so that's my collection right now. I have more on the way. And yeah, y'all stay sharp.